No flavor?
No flavor ones. I'm going to remember this, though.
No, what are you, animals? No flavored carbonated water? What's wrong with you?
I mean, it's not like it's sweet either way. This doesn't have sugar. This isn't sweet.
It's still, but the no carbonated bubbly water is
so you
like...
don't ever drink water? You don't just drink
straight
H2O?
Then I just drink water.
And then add your own sugar to it? So you have to have flavor every time you drink water?
This doesn't have sugar.
Well, then, right, but... My point is,
I'm just
you
saying,
have to have flavor in everything you consume.
That plain bubbly
as of liquids.
Well, you have to have bubbles in it. If you're gonna have bubbles, you got to have flavor.
I'm drinking this because it's free. You just gave it to me.
All right,
I was all right, bro. I had coffee. I was all right.
You know, I ain't drinking no coffee.
Well, I know that. Oh yeah, you don't know caffeine, nothing, huh?
No, I drink caffeine. I just hate coffee.
Oh,
coffee is gross. It's bean
wait,
juice.
No, Dr. Pepper.
It's bean juice. Who wants bean juice?
Who wants pepper juice? You.
Anyway.
Is that the intro?
Yeah, I've been recording the whole time.
Oh, gee, okay.
No, I mean,
Welcome to my podcast.
No, I just filmed it like I just recorded
bean
like
juice
that.
and yeah.
Here, scooch in just a little bit.
All right.
Anyway, we're here today with my good friend Bruce Crisman on a nice fall Portland rainy day. Bruce came over and we're gonna chat some. What's going on, Bruce?
Oh, not much, man. Actually, you're right. It is a typical, I shouldn't say dreary, but cloudy day. Perfect for riding.
Yeah, I wanted to ride this morning and that did not happen, so.
Nah, I took the dog out. I didn't get a ride. Actually, I jogged, man.
No, you did.
I literally took a jog, and let me tell you this, for all those old timers or mid-schoolers out there, including myself, I've been taking glucosamine.
Mm-hmm.
I've rarely missed a day. I probably missed 2 or 3 days in the last 6 weeks, but I've been very religious on taking my 2 pills a day of glucosamine, and I can finally jog again, man.
What's it do?
I mean, my knees, you know, my age now, almost 40 now, dude, my knees literally would give out. It had this crazy sharp pain. And
I get the same thing.
I'd like jog 1 mile, and I'd have to walk all the way back.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I started taking glucosamine. My wife got me these pills like 6 weeks ago, taking them almost every single day, and I'm back jogging, dude. Like, I probably jogged in the last week 5 or 6 miles, which is better than nothing. I mean, I wasn't jogging at all this last year. So, anyway.
All right.
I'm back to jogging.
Okay. Let's get back to talking about bikes.
Sure. Well, I'm back to riding, too.
So, Bruce, you grew up in the Portland area. You grew up. You grew up. Were you born? You're born and raised in Tigard, right?
Yeah, Tigard. So I always refer to it as Portland because
it's a suburb of Portland.
But yeah, Portland, Oregon, born and raised.
What kind of? I mean, I met you. I think a few years after you started riding. Kind of what? I know kind of this pod. So this pod's going to be weird for me because I've never interviewed like one of my close friends. So it's kind of like where I'm not going in like fanboy over somebody, but.
Because we met at Burns. It was at Burnside, or
no, we met at
where we met.
Nelson, but we'll get to that.
Oh, geez, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So tell everybody how you kind of got into riding.
So my very first, my family's really into dirt biking.
Yeah.
Racing back in the day. My dad, my uncles all did. So I grew up riding. But my first experience, I remember seeing on TV. And I think I questioned Condor, Matt Hoffman, about this. Was it back in like early 90s? Didn't they have the B3 contest? Or not the B3, it's called BS contests.
Yeah, they had
were aired on TV.
I don't ever remember seeing them aired on TV, but I mean, it could have been.
It was on TV. It was before, cable was a big thing and all that. I remember seeing a vert contest.
Okay.
And I had no clue what was going on. I was like, oh my God, this looks so rad. And a guy, his name was Bruce, actually. He dated my cousin back then, so he must have been like, I don't even know, 17, 18 years old. He was watching, he goes, yeah, I used to do that. And I'm like, what, you did that? I was like, tell me more about it. Like, how do I get into it,
Yeah.
And
how old were you?
Oh, God, it must have been like 11.
11 years, okay.
Or something,
yeah.
Like 10 or 11. And long story short, he ended up taking me down to the store and bought me a copy of BMX Plus.
Yeah.
So he kind of got me into it, and all I knew, I mean, we didn't have ramps around or anything then. I just knew that I wanted to save my money up, and I saw Dave Volker sitting behind a GT Performer, a black GT Performer.
I know the
Remember
ad.
he's sitting, he has sunglasses on, he's kind of crouched down.
Me and Chris actually looked at the ad in the magazine the other day.
Yeah,
so I think, what was that, 93 or something?
Something, yeah. And so I was probably 12 years old then. Anyway, I saw that ad and I was like, okay, I'm saving up. I'm going to get that bike. I ended up getting it. In fact, I got a GT, I think an Interceptor before that even, because that's all I could afford.
But you ended up getting a GT Performer?
But yeah, I got a GT Performer eventually. And I mean, we didn't have much, videos to go by in magazines, except for if we could find a copy at Barnes & Noble's. And I happened to get a copy of Ride On and Head First from a local bike shop. And that's basically what led me on, man. Just watching those, the VHS tapes and McCoy and Mira, the list goes on. I was just trying to ride like them pretty much. And mainly freestyle, like I said, because there's no ramps around then.
And then from what I know, it didn't really seem like you rode with some older dudes before you kind of linked up with dudes our age. Like you rode with kind of Portland legend Brett Hadley. Flat. I mean, he could ride everything, but definitely no more for flatland.
Well, yeah.
How'd you end up meeting Brett?
Yeah, before Brett was a guy. Let's see, it was Liquor Store Dave. The guy he still works there at the liquor store in the Tiger.
And he rode.
Yeah, because I got a bike and I was literally just learning, man. I couldn't even do nothing. I just ride around parking lots in Tiger, and I saw him doing a surfer.
Yeah.
And it's probably 8 or 9 at night. It's pitch dark, black, and he has his headphones on. There's light from the lamps in the parking lot, and he's surfing across the parking lot, and I'm tripping, dude. I'm like, oh my God, I just chase him down, and I got his contact, and then I ended up meeting Aaron Gunther too. I don't know if you guys remember that guy back in the day. I
vaguely remember that name.
He worked at the zoo.
Okay.
And I really looked up to him. I mean, he could do tabletops and some flatland stuff, so to me that was just incredible. You could do any bike tricks because I wanted to learn so bad.
Yeah.
And he eventually, got me in contact with Brett Hadley, and whom took me to my first jam ever. Actually, up in Curtis's ramps up in Olympia.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience. I'm like 14, 15 years old.
Is that where we met? Is that Curtis's jam before?
Was Dave Tom there? The 30 kids
Dave was
and everything?
everybody was always there.
And Matt Sager.
Was that after or before Nelson?
I think that's before, dude.
Okay.
I think I literally just met Brett and Aaron. And then they headed up there. They told me about the jam. My parents, I'm like 14 years old, and they're these adults, come to my house.
Brett would have been like mid-20s or something.
Yeah, something. Hey, is it cool if your kid comes up with us? And my parents are cool. They're fine. And dude, I tell you what, that jam though was one of the most memorable things. We've had talks about my experiences with Mira and Nike was coming up and everything, but that jam, dude, played a big part in my career. I mean,
there were so many jams at Curtis's. Were you still riding your GT when you went up there?
I believe so. I think I was in a Performer. I'm actually, I think I just got my Dyno Slammer.
Okay.
I upgraded to my Slammer with the Slammer bars even.
Do you remember what, I'm trying to remember, I was at most of those jams. Do you remember anything from that jam?
That's what I was about to say. It was life-changing. I mean, Dave Asada was there, man.
Yeah.
It was Sager, Dave Tom, Dave Asada, I think Jason Enns.
Was it with and we had the street spine outside?
Yeah, the street spine outside, the forfeit outside. And what was crazy about it was Sato, aside from the tricks he was doing then, he's doing like Canadian full barsman, tooth halves, or tooth fulls and that. And trickless was insane. He's by far the best bike rider there. It was amazing. It was like I've seen a pro bike rider. And then soon after that, didn't he win not Chicago. What was that contest?
Oklahoma, where he won AM and turned pro and won pro.
He was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
And that. So it was like literally, I just seen that guy at this jam in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Olympia.
It definitely was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like a barn, basically. See him ripping it up, and all of a sudden, in the magazines, a few months later, you see he's blown up and he wins this big pro contest. So that was, I'd say, one of the highlights of my earlier times in my career.
So you'd ride with Brett. Is Brett just somebody you'd always go out and ride with, or?
Yeah, whenever he wasn't working, Brett was like a weekend guy, and here I'm in school and that, and trying as much as I can to ride. But Definitely, dude. I didn't really know anyone else. So I eventually met Daniel Randall.
Yeah.
But as the older guys' influences, for sure, Brett Hadley is a big influence on me.
Okay, so yeah, the first time I remember meeting you, and I think I was probably at the jam that you were at with Brett, but I probably, there was, for those jams back then, there was probably 100 people back then.
Yeah.
At that jam.
Must have been, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot. But the first time I remember meeting you was at a contest in Nelson, Canada.
Yeah,
and I think was that 90. It was 95 because it was the second one I went to. And you were already with Daniel.
Yeah, I'm like 16.
And who'd you go up there with? Daniel?
It was Ben Ward. I think Ben Ward was that.
Yeah, Ben.
Ben, me. Were you with ODB at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't rolling with me. God, if I remember.
Maybe it was just you, Daniel, and Ben.
Maybe Andy Merrill.
Okay.
That makes sense. If Andy was.
Yeah, because that was the first time I met you, and I remember meeting you and Daniel, and you guys were a few years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And you had like a yellow standard.
Yep.
And you always had a straw in your mouth.
Always had a straw. I know, it was a bad habit.
And I just remember you and Daniel being really young, and super good. Like, definitely surprising some people at that contest.
Dude, we rode a lot then. Will Burnside was the only spot really back then, and we were riding a lot. That was some really good times.
How'd you end up meeting Daniel?
Through that local bike shop, Randall's Bike Shop.
Okay.
Was like. A mile down the street from me. It was the only bike shop in town. They actually carried Hoffman and GT, and so they had some. I got head first and right on through them.
Yeah.
So they were actually into the.
And you say his nephew rode BMX.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Don Randall and I went to school with Dale, his son. Dale's a little bit older than me, but they introduced me to Daniel eventually, whom eventually came to ride for Hoffman bikes and was. Incredible bike rider. You haven't followed him in the past, but Daniel was, he's a few years younger than me, 2-3 years younger, but just way ahead of the game, man. Very, very gifted athlete Daniel was, and I'd say one of the best riders to ever come out of Burnside.
Oh yeah,
for sure he was.
How did you and Daniel? Our crew kind of was like that first crew to really start riding down at the park, at least consistently. I know like Scott Hagness and. Jim Barnes and some other Northwest dudes, would pop in periodically. Mm-hmm. But what was it like going down to Burnside? What was it like? Probably 93 the first time you rode there.
It was sketchy.
Was it you and Daniel?
Yeah, it was Daniel and I. He showed me the park first time. Our moms met for lunch.
Yeah,
and it was down across the other side of the bridge. And Daniel was like, while they were talking, he's like, "Let's go see the park. I'm going to show you the park." And so we walked across, and he showed it to me. And back then it was. God, it was so incomplete. There's a wooden quarter pipe.
It was like one of the old portable quarter pipes that some BMXers donated to the park back then.
I don't think it was even a cinder block wall back then. I think that was in its place. Or something. I can't remember the exact setup. But there was a wooden ramp there and maybe some grind boxes. And it was almost just like a big slab of concrete, wasn't it? That you're starting to build stuff on. And was the big bowl... by then?
I don't know. I rode it when the Spider Bowl was there, so the Spider Bowl was kind of over by the Big Bowl, but it was like 6 feet deep and bumpy.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, he showed that to me, and from then on, man, it was like, I was so infatuated into BMX, I just wanted to ride. I always wanted to do whatever it took to make it happen, and that happened to be the only park in... pretty much Portland was Burnside, so...
It was one of the only parks in the West Coast.
Thinking about it, I knew of no other places to ride, and of course suited my riding style, which is more towards ramps, front brakes, 4 pegs back then, and so I tried as much as I could to go down there, and it meant waking up very early. You just get kicked out.
Yeah, explain to some people about like how it was. People. It's funny because people come in the shop nowadays and they'll be like, freaked out to go to the park, and we've been riding there for a long time.
Yeah.
But they'll tell you stories, and you're like, no, these stories are from, like, 1994 or something.
No, yeah.
What time would you get to the skate park back then? Because I know that when I'd go, I know what time I'd get there, but...
I try to get there, like, 5 or 6 o'clock. Like,
in the morning.
Dark out. Yeah, I'd set my alarm for, like, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Take the bus down, try to get there by 5 o'clock.
So you take the bus in from Tigard?
Yeah, it was before I got my license.
Okay.
Yeah, so I take my bus in, and occasionally my friend, when he started driving, we'd be able to do that. But a lot of times I got a bus pass, and headed down there as early as possible. Hopefully it wasn't raining or wet or drizzled sideways. And then, of course, it was a 50-50 chance of us being able to ride.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some hardcore, skaters, patrollers back then. For whatever reason, I mean, well, it was the peg thing. It was us ruining it. But, I mean, it was like dudes that are really adamant about keeping us out of there. And it meant, it meant that we didn't get a ride sometimes. I mean, literally wake up that early and they'd be there early too. And
yeah, dudes would be sleeping there.
I'm like 15, 16-year-old kid. Of course, I'm not going to argue with them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, it was a battle and sometimes a bust, even Redburn side. But
what was some of the weirder things you saw in the earlier days down there?
Oh, man, like stories. Jeez, man. I got a long list. I mean,
give us a list.
Great. I mean, seeing people shooting heroin grow up there, they're just high out of their minds. Just a needle hanging out their arms. Who saw a dead body there? I never saw a dead body.
Somebody said there was a dead body in the Big Bowl once.
Yeah.
Which I know there's been people found people dead down there, but yeah. I've heard there was a dead body in the Big Bowl. Mm-hmm. But who knows?
There's seen plenty of fights down there, brawls and. Oh man, you name it.
One of the things I remember, do you remember back in the day when everybody be huffing paint on the side of the hill, all passed out, and then the cops would come in on the four-wheelers and try to chase everybody out?
I don't remember seeing that, but I believe it. I mean,
I just remember the hill where everybody would sit back in the day above the parking lot. There'd be people
right.
just passed out with rags over their nose from huffing paint.
I believe it. Yeah.
So
if that wasn't enough, that the outhouse. Remember the outhouse they actually stored there?
Yeah,
having that the guy that came and cleaned that weekly.
We'd have to leave the whole skate park because
you leave for an hour at least, dude.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Clear out, yeah.
Yeah, so you started riding the park then with Daniel early 90s and I remember when I moved here we'd be out of the park by 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd have to.
Yeah, so you guys are riding and then when I met you guys at that Nelson contest, you guys seemed like you were progressing pretty fast.
Yeah, man. I mean, by then we had the park, and then we had built some of our own ramps. I mean, I built a box jump, which I mainly just rode as a quarter pipe, and then Daniel had his own ramp, a portable quarter pipe, and some stuff by his garage. But I mean, we kept on it, man. We were just riding a lot, and just that's what we wanted to do. And crazy, we've had plenty of talks on this. There really wasn't. I mean, we had dreams be a pro biker, because by then we'd had the Woodward experience, and we started getting in touch and feel more of what was possible to do as far as a bike career goes, and that. But still, it was more. I mean, dude. We just loved riding, man. Yeah. We didn't know that, eventually we're going to get paid or anything for that. It was maybe we can get a box of product or something. That was literally the big thing to if you thought about it. I was like, man, maybe one day I'll get some free shoes. Yeah. Or some parts. I won't have to spend so much money building a bike. $800, a lot of money for a young kid back then. And you're thinking, oh, maybe I could just get some flow one day and be able to actually afford bikes and get bike parts. So, yeah.
What did the Portland scene feel like back then?
I mean, not many riders back then.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I know that's before I moved here, and I didn't even know you guys existed, and it seemed pretty, empty from how big it was in the late '80s at that time. Yeah,
there just wasn't many people, and it was just a cool surprise whenever you were down at the park, for example, and some out-of-towner came in. That was a real treat, Yeah. Getting to see a different style and perspective of bike riding, and that was a really good time.
So, it feels like, when we connected, I think I moved to Portland, 96. Okay. And I feel like a bunch of people started coming to Portland then to start to ride.
Yeah, it started coming up right about then, huh?
And it just felt like the whole scene started coming up, and then everybody was just, it felt like 96. We'd have how many people would be down the park riding in the morning?
Maybe more, huh? Yeah, because that was 97 was my senior year, so 96, 97. And you're right, it seemed like there was all of a sudden more people coming in town or moving into town or passing by more.
Yeah. And I think that's when the sessions down
started blowing up. Yeah, you're right. The sessions started coming up a lot more.
Yeah.
Around that time.
I mean, like down at the park, then we'd be like you, Daniel, me, Andy Merrill, Twin Fin,
Rich Hirsch eventually came down.
Rich moved down. Matt Puro. Who else was riding out? Rocker Matt.
Rocker Matt. That's right.
I'm trying to think.
And that guy Kaz was there all.
Oh, that guy that skated and rode. Yeah, he was really sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like right then the sessions really started popping off, and we all ended up with video cameras and started filming. And
that's right, yeah.
So
we kind of Hagness was doing the infection videos.
Yeah, dude, we should talk.
He influenced a lot of why we started filming.
Yeah,
he really did. It went for Scott Hagness and his dedication. I mean, think about the time coming down, just film like he has footage of us we didn't know existed. We didn't even know he was filming.
Yeah, dude, he has so much footage. Let's talk about like. So how did you end up meeting Scott and filming for the infection videos? Because that's probably some of the first... It's so funny looking back because I never thought people outside of the Northwest saw infection videos.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to people, a lot of people had seen the infection videos. So it's probably some of the first footage people ever saw of you was the infection videos.
It probably was, man.
How did you end up meeting Scott?
I don't even know. I'm thinking, was he in Nelson?
He was at everything back then.
Yeah. Man, okay, maybe I met him there, or maybe... through that bike jam through Brett, because I'm sure he knew Brett.
Yeah, Brett and him have rode since the mid '80s.
Yeah, and we got linked up somehow, and he decided to come down to Burnside and film us.
Yeah,
because maybe through Daniel, he's corresponding, but he came down to Burnside. That was my first interaction really with Agnes, was filming at Burnside.
Yeah, I remember some of your old clips in the you doing like big 450s over the hips, some big alley oops.
Yeah,
you and Daniel like. Bunch of spine tricks down there.
Oh yeah, and that was a big deal for us, dude. I mean, we didn't have cameras then.
Yeah,
and we had it planned out. He was going to come down. It was a Saturday, super early, or Sunday, whatever it was. And I mean, we were like training mode, getting ready for
because you didn't know what time you get kicked out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but making sure we had our game locked in, because when Haggins got there, we were going to nail this. And of course, for me, it was a 450.
Yeah, over
the hip back then, and what an X up or whatever else it was. But it was a really big deal having Hagness come to Burnside and film us.
Yeah, and those videos when they came out in the '90s were always a big deal.
Yeah, for sure, they really were. Yeah, big. Some of the biggest to come out of the Northwest.
Which was the first one? Is it Infection 3 the first one you were in?
I don't remember. Yeah. They had a couple out before I was even in one.
Yeah, and then so you said you and Daniel went to Woodward for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Who was like, because in the '90s, I mean, back then it was like a who's who of who was working at Woodward. With like pros.
Yeah.
Who were some of the pros that you guys like that were there that helped you guys?
Yeah. Well, at the time it was Joe Rich, Lucky, or like. Counseling even there, like instructors and everything. Let me think. I feel bad. I think maybe Frymouth is there. Adam Banton.
Yeah.
Was at their time as well. Joe Rich, Lucky. As for the counselors, God, I feel like I'm missing people. But anyway, at the time, Mira and Nyquist.
Yeah.
Were like the big dogs, and of course, Mira in the 90s. There was nothing bigger than Mira in the 90s. Jeez, a lot, dude. Brian Castillo.
You guys
goes on, yeah.
And do you think Woodward helped you guys a lot with your riding?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, my first year there was right out of high school. I graduated in 97, and my parents ended up helping me out. Actually, I'd saved up enough money for like a week or two, and they said they would match it for a graduation gift,
Yeah.
So I ended up having enough money for 3 weeks at Woodward, plus my airfare, and just got a bike too, and the standard,
Yeah.
Headed out there, just so stoked, man, as a camper. Long trick list, I was ready to want to learn flips, truck drivers, tail ups, the whole thing. And, yeah, man, I was on a mission. I was a camper there because there was no other foam pit or racing pit that I knew of in the world.
Yeah.
But I just knew this camp had this your capability of learning crazy tricks, which that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn flips. So the number one thing. So I went to Woodward, learned flips, stoked, and I had such a good time. By the end of camp, after that 3 weeks, I ended up, I had my mind set on coming back the next summer and trying to get a job there.
Yeah.
So I signed up to be a dish dog.
Yeah.
And they hired me. I mean, I'm just flipping out. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going back summer after. So I worked as a dish dog. Daryl Naw was there. Mike Laird. Aaron Bostrom.
Yeah.
Long list as well from there. But yeah, that was an epic back-to-back summer. Spending time at Woodward.
So you were going to Woodward, and I mean, where was the point back then that you're like, I'm going to try to make a push to be a pro bike rider? Was there a point where you said that's something you want to go for?
Yeah, definitely, man. And it came the time when I'm just out of school. You know, I'm having to make a decision what it is. Am I going to go to college, which I did try to do. You know, I was really into wrestling. You know this.
Yeah,
man. I mean,
you moved to Southern Oregon for a while.
I did, at Coos Bay. I was down there.
So I remember you moving to Southern Oregon. We rode the Old Forest Grove skate park, and you separated your shoulder nose wheeling in that tight quarter pipe.
Forest Grove, yep.
And then I remember and then you moved to Southern Oregon to go to college on a wrestling scholarship.
Not a scholarship, but just to wrestle.
Yeah.
As
if you guys didn't know, Bruce was a badass wrestler in high school.
I wrestled a lot. Well, I wrestled competitively since age 4.
Yeah.
Until I graduated in high school, and then a little bit after that, helped coach as well.
And you still up till recently still help coach and stuff once in a while.
I try to be a mentor every once in a while, and I like working out still. And wrestling was a huge part of my life, dude.
Yeah.
And I anyway, right out of high school, I was like, okay, I gotta do the college thing. This is what people do. So I went down there with one of my best friends. Then at Coos Bay, was on the wrestling team, going to school, and then I come back and forth, to Tigers, like 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, and I come back on the weekends or every other weekend, hang out with my family, and I wasn't riding.
No, because your shoulder was hurt.
Yeah, I mean, my shoulder for one, and then I was training for wrestling, and yeah, I did that as a 3rd degree EC separation, like as bad as they come, and so I couldn't ride anyway, and several months went by. I'm doing the wrestling thing. I'm going to school, and I come home, and I'm finally able to have enough strength, to do a bunny hop.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. So I get on my bike, pull it out of the garage, and it was like, just instantly, I was like, dude, I love doing this. This is exactly what I want to do, for the rest of my life. And from that moment, I just quit school. I went back that following weekend. And
I remember when you came home, yeah.
Yeah, I just dropped out of school that following weekend and told my buddy, sorry, it's not what I want to do. And started working for my dad a little bit.
And your dad's a logger.
He's a logger, yeah. So I grew up in a logging family as well. Started helping him with the tree business and just riding every minute I could possible.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, having spent time at Woodward, I finally saw that, wow, a guy could actually make a career out of this.
Yeah.
It's a long ways off, of course, but whatever, it makes me happy. I don't care if I'm poor and living on a shoestring. This is still something I want to do and I want to pursue.
What did your parents think of that when you...
I mean, they thought it was nuts. I mean, who was making a living then? Who was making an honest living?
4 people.
3-4 people in the world.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it was just... I got ridiculed for it, and that's fine. I understand from their point of view. But I knew it made me happy, so I ended up going to camp, as a dish dog. Finally, eventually made some more connections there. And actually was that... So it kind of falls in sequence to what you're talking about, or your question, was that, here I am, not knowing exactly what I want to do. I know I just want to ride my butt off, be the best rider I possibly can. And ESPN was doing B3 series, bikes, boards, and blades.
Yeah, and they had the one in Beaverton.
And yeah, they had one in Beaverton. They are actually doing amateur series along with that, and that was the last year that they did that. Even they included amateurs. Yeah. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the last contest in Woodward, Pennsylvania, that they actually stopped. They stopped doing amateur series at that contest. Or maybe it was Oceanside. Was it Oceanside after that?
We entered the Oceanside because I entered...
Okay, so it was the last year. Excuse me, it was the last year. And I happened to win that that amateur contest.
So you won Oceanside.
No, I didn't win Oceanside. No,
Did you win?
I topped 10.
Did you win the Portland?
I won. No, not even Portland, but I won the
Woodward.
The Woodward one.
Yeah,
I won that one, and at that time, you know, I'm just starting to know Nyquist and Mira, and Nyquist is more on my age. You know, we're actually the same age, and having won that, you know, gave me a little bit of recognition. And here I am with Nyquist, you know, talking to him every day and that, and him and Dave put a good word in Taharo for me right after that, and that's when they started flowing me bikes.
Yeah,
you know, that was like a really significant part of my career, was knowing those two and then winning.
Because they kind of took you under their wing back in the day.
They did, yeah, completely.
Yeah, I brought up like the decision because I remember, so we'd always be riding and there was a point where I remember you going from like one of the dudes in the crew to, I saw a shift in you to where you were so like laser focused on like just becoming an amazing bike rider, not just like hanging out with the homies all the time. Just, you know, we were all just hanging out and riding, but you were like making stuff happen where you were going places, going to contests, making sure you got to Woodward, you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember all of us ended up at Woodward.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know, and then I remember my first year at Woodward, and I think Bristol and Rich came along not too after that summer, you know. But, you know, and that was Bostrom was there, Daryl Nah, Stauffer, a bunch of those dudes.
That's right, Stauffer. Oh,
Stauffer was there. Who else? A bunch. There's Drake Miller. So many dudes. You know, Wessel was there. You know, there was a good. That was that 98 or something?
Yeah, really good crew.
But I just remember, because the way I just remember you would show up at the session and you would get down. Like you would just be you'd ride as hard as you could every session. It blew me away at that time because, you know, I'd known you longer than these guys. So they were only seeing like you ride this hard all the time.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I've been in your backyard playing around with you on your box jump and stuff. But now I saw this shift in you to where you were like, you'd put it in a different gear. You're riding at that time, I feel like.
Yeah. Dude, and part of the reason was because, you know, I was working so much with my dad.
Yeah.
You know, eventually, you know, you're logging, like literally putting in 10, 12, 14 hours working. And when you do that a week, you realize you don't have much time for riding.
Yeah.
At that point, you know, and you're like, well, this is something I'm actually pursuing, bike riding, not logging. And I barely have time to do it by bike riding.
Yeah.
So when I had the time to do it, it was like, you got to make this happen. You got to make this count now. And I mean, that was a big part.
Yeah.
It was a big push in it, you know, because I mean, I knew it just made me happy at the end of the day. You know, it wasn't like, as we said before, it's not like there's rich and glamour, money, you know, at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel or anything like that. It's just happiness. And I don't want to go this direction in my life, so I'd rather go this direction. So it's just, I'm going to push bike riding as hard as I can. And yeah, that included being really focused. So.
Yeah. And then you said like Mira and Nyquist took you under their wing.
Yeah, man.
Not shortly after that, you moved out to Greenville with Colin McKay.
Yeah.
And were you pro at that time when you moved out there, or were you still amateur?
I think we had just turned pro.
You and Colin?
Yeah, I think it was in the Oceanside, because I, you know, won an amateur contest, and that was like one of the last contests of the season, wasn't it? Oceanside.
Yeah, because that's the last. I mean, I remember you, me, Bristol, and Twin Fin, and Rich all went to that contest.
Yeah, and I think I rode both pro and amateur, didn't I then, or something? Or
you might have, yeah.
Maybe it was, or Clint Miller did, maybe.
No.
Because Clint and
Colin
came in.
Let's not even talk.
Sandbagging.
No, let's not talk about it.
Still mad about this. Clint, you were sandbagging, dude. And Shad is mad about it still. Hey, anyway, you even put it. If you can tail up over his spine, what are you doing in an amateur
What was
class?
it? It was 96, 97. No, it was 97, 98?
8 or something. Yeah, they're doing.
Okay, hold on. Let me just
over spines.
So
Shad's just furious.
We showed up and we were all entering amateur.
Yeah.
You, me, Twin, Bristol, and Rich.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was I just wanted to qualify. I missed qualifying by 3 spots.
Yeah.
Because Colin, Clint Miller, and
Shane.
The dude that rode for Dragonfly.
Is it Shane? I think it was Shane.
Somebody. They showed up. They're tail whipping spines. They're doing Clint Miller's doing all this. I think Colin did a 360 whip. I'm like, this is not pro.
Mike Daly.
Mike Daly. Yeah, I'm like, that was pro level riding.
It was pro.
And
it's still pro to me, dude.
I still give Clint a hard time when I talk to him.
He deserves it. They were sandbagging, dude. But they didn't know any better.
No, they came
to the States trying to make the biggest impression. I don't blame them, dude.
But I think you did ride pro in that contest,
I think it was both, because Schwope had the decision to do it. Steve Schwope was doing the organizing, and I do believe they put me in both of them. Or maybe it was Clint. I'm like, God, that was a long time. It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that was funny seeing that the sandbaggers come out. Shad missing it by a hair, but because of them.
Oh my god,
you would have been up there, buddy.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that was the end of my contest.
But you did get a magazine photo. We
both did. We both got a.
You got one, but you got yours next to the Butcher.
It was you were above doing an X down.
Yeah.
Butcher was doing a crooked grind.
Yeah.
And then I had an ice pick over what they called the Gator Gap, which was like a gap between two 8-foot quarters. And
and Losi took both of them, didn't he?
Yeah, he forgot my name. He remembered yours.
that was big news, man. That was big. That was it was awesome back then.
I remember when we got the magazine. We were down at we were down at Burnside. You and I were riding, and I think Twinfin showed up and had the magazine in his backpack to show us.
Oh dang! Okay.
So, awesome. You moved to Greenville with Colin.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Tell me something about the Greenville years.
Oh, that was awesome, man. I spent about maybe a year there.
Yeah.
Close to. And how do we link up, Colin? Maybe through Woodward.
Yeah, Colin was with us at Woodward.
Was it Woodward?
Yeah.
Okay. So he wanted to come he wanted to pursue bike riding. And he wanted, of course, I mean, the only place to do is in the States.
Yeah.
You want to, come up and make a name for yourself. So he wanted to come over. His good friend, Kenny Reggett.
Oh, Kenny's such an amazing bike rider.
Oh, insane. Still killing it. He was like, yeah, I got a buddy who wants to come over as well. And I'm trying to remember how it worked. Oh, I linked up through Dave. Actually, I went out to Greenville before. We went out there maybe several months before. I don't remember when. But Dave invited me out while we were out at Woodward.
And you were on Haro at the time.
Yeah, getting flowed. Yeah, exactly. So we had that communication going then. And Dave's like, come out anytime. It was right when he had that house with the vert ramp.
Where he did the tail tap on the ladder?
Yes, where Alan Cook was holding the ladder.
Yeah.
And he did some crazy photos off that vert ramp. And anyway, so I went out and stayed, I don't remember, 4 or 5 days out there with Dave. And some friends of his as well showed me around. I think Dave was even flying in and out. He's pretty important.
Yeah, he was big, so big time then.
I think, he was like flying in and out for Activision, whoever was doing his video game then. And just busy guy. But I mean, it was just an honor to spend, time with Dave and have him show me around Greenville. And nonetheless, just end up falling in love with the town, the crew, and it was a lot smaller then. Pro Town wasn't.
It was the beginning of Pro Town, wasn't it?
Yeah, the beginning of it.
Who were some of the early dudes that you were riding with then?
Well, I lived in the same apartments as Mike Laird. Nikos was out there. Or wait, was he there? I'm trying to think. I think maybe, I don't remember if Nikos even had a house then. There, maybe he was coming in and out and visiting, or eventually moving there. I don't remember, but it was.
Was Colin Winkleman there?
Colin, God, was he? I'm trying to remember if he was then. I don't remember if he was there then. Excuse me if I'm forgetting. So it was Mike. It was Jerry. It was Steve Caro. It was why am I forgetting? Spacing who was there, man. Eastern crew.
John Byers?
Don't remember him being there. Wait, was he there?
That's the owner of Eastern. Overt dude.
I don't remember if I saw him. I'm sure I did. Josh Harrington, of course.
Yeah, because Josh was
Steve Nowak. That's what I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Steve Nowak. And anyway, solid crew still yet. JC Park was that play outdoor with the Mini Spine. I was literally, you could see it from my window, see the park right across the
And at that time, that park was amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, that's what I was into, contest riding. So, box jump, Mini Spine, subs, the whole deal, street spine. Riding a lot when I was out there. But it was such a good, man, I reflect on this all the time too, because at that point I wasn't making much money at all. It was like,
Were you working with?
No, that's the thing. Like, I went out there, Haro just started paying me.
Yeah.
Just I mean, small check, and most of my earnings come from my contest stuff. If I did good, even, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully I can come away with several $100s if I was top 10 or something. And but at that time, I was on such a tight budget, man. It was, you know, I'm living off of like iceberg lettuce, bologna packets, taking ketchup packets at Burger King, and napkins and all, you know, just anything to make it happen, man.
Yeah.
Literally, because I just knew that, you know, if I got a job, I'm not afraid to work, you know, but I knew if I did get a job, then, you know, it cut into my riding time. So I just try to make it happen as cheap as possible. I had just enough money for rent, for food.
You guys didn't even have furniture in the apartment, did you?
No, at first, no. I don't remember.
I remember seeing pictures of you guys in the apartment, and so you just had a TV on the floor.
Yeah, I brought that over.
Yeah.
Or bought it. I don't even remember. But Dave knew a guy at a mattress place, a warehouse, and got me a bed, like a throwaway bed.
Yeah.
So he hooked that up, and then other than that, yeah, we didn't even have furniture in the living room, or, you know, just living cheap and riding every day, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So.
And what brought you? So you were in Greenville, living and riding.
Yeah.
I can't. Dude, I'm having a blur on this. So you moved back to Portland, though.
Yeah.
You were only there for like a year and a half, 2 years, right?
Not even a year, if that, maybe, I don't even know, 11, 12 months.
What brought you back to Portland?
Well, let's see.
Because I remember
Good
you were
question,
riding
dude.
all the contests. You were still, you know, that was the time where I think Woodward would pay you to be a pro to be there.
Yeah, but I wasn't like. Was I? I don't know.
I don't remember why you came back to Portland. Not like I was happy you came back to
I
Portland.
always come home. I mean, I've traveled, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of places throughout the years and moved all
Or
over.
maybe were you starting to travel so much you didn't want to pay rent?
Well, that'd be a good idea if that was. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, no. I think that, you know what? Think about it. You did spark. I do remember now. Okay, so I was traveling so much. I was doing a lot of contests, and then maybe I just signed with Diamondback.
No.
You're jumping. 2001. Did I sign with them?
You're jumping way ahead.
Did I come back in 2000? See, I don't remember.
Yeah,
this.
you had a Haro when you came back.
Okay. Well, I love being home. Let's put it that way. And then, yeah, I mean, having to travel so much, you know, it was good having a home base. I don't even remember why I just moved out of there. But I love being home.
You had to come back and get those Burnside
Oh, no,
sessions.
you know what, dude? My mom moved home. My mom moved back to Portland.
Oh, that's
That was the
right.
deal, yeah, because she was away for a while. And when she moved back, I moved back. So
Yes.
that's a big part of it. Because I ended up moving in with her.
You moved in to help your mom out with stuff. I totally remember now.
Okay, thanks.
These people, everybody's going to think we're crazy.
We're both crazy. We're like, why did I move
I knew
back
this
home?
pod was going to be... I knew today, I'm like, this one might just be... I'm like, I wonder if it's going to be weird because it's just like, Bruce and I know each other so well. It's not like, you know, just be us like gabbing like... No.
We pretty much are, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, mom moved back. I moved back. And
then you were just hitting all the contests. You were
still doing my thing, yeah.
You know... I felt like there was a point where it was like on Haro, it was Dave, Ryan, and you were like kind of this up and coming star, you know, where you were starting to encroach, and you know, and you how many you were in a few you were in what 3 X Games? You were in 2 before.
2000 was my first. In San Francisco was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you do in that one?
Dude, I think I just missed finals. I think like 11th or something.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing X Games. Remember Ruben did the Ruben wall ride?
Oh yeah,
the wall,
yeah.
You know, the spider wall ride.
Yeah.
Ride. That was a big deal. He got the cover, a BMX Plus, didn't he?
No, it was Ride.
Ride, okay. And the Volker was even in. God, that was an amazing.
Yeah, because I remember that time. Because that same ride had that sequence of you doing that gap to ice that we filmed for Blueprint.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the time where we were filming really heavy for Blueprint too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a lot of things were going down there. Marcus Wilkie got 3rd.
Oh yeah.
Remember, like one of the first guys.
Or did he get second or
second? Maybe he was second. As a true street rider.
Yeah.
In qualifying, I know that kind of ticked some people off, but it was rad. You didn't see him mix it up. But yeah, 2000 San Fran was my first X Games. Gave it my all. That was a great experience.
Was that the one Volker went off at too?
Yeah, he did that gap on that gapped outside of the park or something. And,
yeah, or you jumped over like the sub box. Like,
yeah,
Volker would murder those contests back in the day.
Yeah, that was an amazing time.
So yeah, so well, shoot, like I'm thinking like Woodward. Mm-hmm. It's like trying to track. It's like a forensics case trying to track down, figure out all your stuff. So at that time, were you trying to train? I mean, you were literally training. We'd be at Woodward. You were training.
Well, yeah, straight up, dude. I mean, I was a contest rider.
Yeah,
so that was the way you made a living back then.
It was funny because you came from a crew of dudes. Like if people would have looked at your crew of dudes that you came up riding with, so not the training, like the dirtiest, wildest. I mean, you came from our crew. The crew was wild back in the day.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, Dave Tom and the 30 crew doing the stuff they did on videos.
Yeah. And then the whole Portland crew back then.
Yeah, I know. Definitely was a little bit different than you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, you were like totally trained. Were you when you were training? Did you have your were you thinking like I want to win a X Games gold, or were you just trying to be like I'm going to do as good as I can at a contest?
At that point, no aim and be like I'm going to be X Games gold medals. Yeah, I can honestly say that. Like I had no. It wasn't an aim, dude. It wasn't possible. Yeah. It was Mira, dude. Think about it. I mean, it was... Yeah. Who was even close to his level then? Miron was.
Yeah, Miron.
But who else? Really? Nyquist, kind of. And that was only if Mira fell, dude. Yeah. I mean, that was it. But aside from that, no, it was... Here's the thing. I wasn't making much money at the time. And if you... I don't remember exact numbers, but if you could, make top 5 or top 10, you're going to get $700 or a few $100. But if you can make top 5, dude, sometimes that entailed like a few $1,000s. Yeah. I mean, that's big money back then, dude. Especially when you're bringing in $15,000-$20,000 a year. Yeah. With that, Yeah. And so that was my aim, dude. I mean, God, I got to do the best I can. If I get this check, I got to eat better. Yeah. Or for whatever it was, dude, I needed back then. But no expectancy to win. Or even come close to beating Dave. It just wasn't even a question. And that just, like I said, those sort of things just came if Dave fell. Yeah. There's no other way to beat Dave,
Well, let's talk about the next year's X Game, 2001 Philadelphia. Yeah. Well, how'd the Diamondback thing come around? Because you got on Diamondback between that time.
Yeah, I got off Haro.
Did you quit Haro? Did Diamondback offer you and then you left Haro?
I think I don't even remember. They were doing budget cuts or whatever the reason was, and I don't remember, dude. Yeah. I just don't even remember, but I know that I think Tony D was the manager at the time, and I think he recommended him. He was like, hey, yeah, I know. We never left on bad blood. We never did, But I do remember him recommending, yeah, I know Scott Matchell, I think, back then, or was over at Diamondback.
Was Matchell the TM back then?
I think it was Matchell, yeah. He's a cool guy. I think he led me to Diamondback, more or less, and we started talking, established a relationship, and yeah, just went from there. Yeah. Any bike sponsor was better than none back then because that meant free flights. Yeah. That meant, they'll send you there or potential trips, budget for trips, fly you around and take photos with whomever, Losi it was back then. So yeah, one thing led to the next. I got on Diamondback and...
You rode an EBCO with Diamondback stickers.
Well, they did, dude. I tried. I rode one of the frames, and
those early frames were.
It was just so bad. It's just geometry, it was so bad, and it just seemed like
everything weighed a lot back then. But I remember the first one. I think it was like gray and black or something. Yeah, it weighed so much.
It did, and I was always waiting around for a prototype. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, but I remember you had an EBCO, which EBCO was an Oregon company at the time out of Eugene.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah,
sent me a frame.
So you had one of those with Diamondback stickers for a lot of time you were on Diamondback.
Yeah, and they were sick, dude. EBCOs, they were light. They were up to par on the geometry, the weight, everything. It's everything you needed out of a bike. And so he sent me that.
Let's talk about your bike setup at that time, Bruce. So you had that EBCO
with a Diamondback sticker,
and you really, and I'll blame this on you. You popularized the Haro Slim Bar, you popularized people getting handlebars like everybody had little handlebars, but you went way past that with the tiny handlebars.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you at one point you rode big handlebars. What made them get so small, Bruce?
Well, here's the thing.
And you rode them crooked.
Well, okay, I'll tell you exactly.
Because I gave you a hard time for that.
Okay, the narrow, cutting them down was. I did a lot of bar spins back then. I mean, every bar spin combo, truck driver, bar to one hand foof, whatever. I was doing a lot of those tricks, but the crookedness thing came when I think I busted my hand. I never got an X-ray on it, but I think I busted it. Like like there's that hairline fracture you can do like deep within the palm.
Yeah.
I just remember it took like a solid year to heal, dude. And that's right when I was riding a bunch. I was trying to hit all those comps and everything. I continually had this injured hand. So what I had to do, and I still had brakes, and so I had to cut my bars in. And if you notice a lot of those photos in that, the outside of my palm is hanging on the outside of my handlebar.
Oh, really? I never noticed that.
It's because if I landed with holding the entire handlebar, it would bruise, it would injure that fracture, whatever it was going on, that bone or muscle that was going on. I had to hold on the outside.
Yeah.
And I landed.
I remember your bars were always mad crooked.
Mad crooked, dude. And then plus I was okay with it because I had the one finger on the lever anyway, so it kind of set me up there. So anyway, it made me look kind of funny.
Yeah, I just I think you popularized those tiny.
Well, maybe I did, but it was out of an injury, so it was unintentional.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Philly X Games. I mean, I was there filming for props.
That's right. I got photos of you.
Yeah.
I got disposable photos of you,
Bob took.
you and Thorne and people there.
So you went to that contest, and you were riding really good at that point.
Yeah, I was really consistent. Did a lot of contests, a lot of traveling.
And when I look back, that course kind of, I feel like it leaned towards your riding a little, the way it flowed. It almost,
for sure it did.
With the weird in and out spine, it kind of had like a Burnside vibe.
It's just like Burnside. I was about to say that.
Yeah, it had a Burnside vibe. Tell me about the contest that day and what was going on with you.
Yeah, dude. Just in any other. Well, not any other contest, but it was. I happened to qualify. I mean, it's X Games, dude. I didn't qualify the year before.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it. It was Winkleman was there.
Yeah, he was riding really good.
Really good, dude. And
there was a bunch of people riding good that comp.
It was a big comp. It was an awesome comp, and just to be part of it, being like the top 20 guys, was it 20 riders at the time. And really had no expectation to even making the finals or anything. And I just remember thinking, dude, if I make top 10, you imagine the check.
Yeah,
it's gonna be it's gonna be amazing, and end up qualifying. I don't remember what place, but that was my biggest expectation. That it was like, wow, if I could even make top 10, that'd be insane. And I did. So. Kind of.
What was going on? So, you won the contest. When it went you, Alistair, and Mira, right?
Miron.
No, Miron.
Mira
didn't get third.
No.
So Mira kept wrecking on a double flip.
He kept trying the double flip
to start his run, and I remember he kept washing out.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he would have won obviously with that run, or him or Nyquist even. They both wiped Nyquist. I think wrecked on.
Oh, he did. He wrecked really hard.
Ufanu or something. I don't even know what it was.
I do remember Ryan wrecking really hard.
Yeah, he wrecked. So it put him out.
And I think it came down. You and Alistair were going at it.
Yeah, it was, and Jay too. But I think he fell. I can't remember what it was. But remember, he did like the highest 540.
Oh, he
possible on like that 10-foot quarter.
Yeah, Jay is
came full sprint across the entire course and busted like this. I don't even know 8-10 foot high 540. That was probably one of my biggest memories of that contest. It was Jay doing that 540. But yeah, Alistair and I are kind of neck and neck too. And
was there a point where you're like, I could maybe win this during the contest? Like when your scores were coming in?
I mean, after they had wrecked.
Yeah.
By then, because knowing I was, at a higher score than them. Because
did it put more? I mean. What was the pressure like? I just remember watching, and I was freaking out in the stands, like filming.
Dude, honestly, no pressure. To be honest, I mean, maybe that helped in the end.
Yeah.
You know, but I honestly had no pressure because I never imagined I'd win a contest such of that magnitude.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Was that your first contest win?
Not win. No. I mean, I'd won. Remember the B3 or the X Trials at Woodward?
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
following year.
Yeah.
You know, was it 2001 that year? 2001.
Yeah, when we were also at Woodward, you won that.
Yeah, and so no pressure at all, man. It just kind of, I just showed up and rode good, and fell in. I guess you know what, it could have gone either way too. Alistair rode just as good, just as amazing, too, in my opinion. So kind of it could have gone either way, but for whatever reason, they liked a couple things I did.
They like the bar spin one hand foof.
Yeah, I mean that was my deal back then. Did a lot of those.
What was it like when? I mean, not to keep digging on this contest, but I feel like it's like one. Like I feel like there's like when you look back at like your riding, how it encompasses. I feel like there's two Bruce Crismans kind of, and like you know that was the peak of the. I mean, how was it like winning that? I mean, you were the first person in like X Games history to beat Mira at a park contest.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. I mean, it was really surprising for one, and I had no expectation. It was a weird evening. I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the hotel, and it's like, wow, did that really happen?
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden you're recognized in the sport, and then of course there comes, you know, endorsements and offers coming at you and everything. It's just things I never imagined, really.
What was the weirdest offer you got?
Weirdest?
Yeah. Because that was like the peak of X Games and Slim Jim and everything. I feel like you had to have gotten some weird offers.
Ah, man, weird. I'm trying to... I need to define...
Bruce had to... Well, you had to straighten me out earlier because I thought Spy or one of the sunglass companies, I remember... And you may have just told me this, but I remember you said they were going to offer you money just to run a sticker on your bike. Like $500 a month, and you told them, I'm not going to do it because I don't wear sunglasses.
I might have said... I don't even remember.
And I remember I was like, what?
Well, I didn't wear sunglasses.
No, I know.
I don't remember. I mean, I believe you do. Maybe I said that. But no, weirdest was probably riding for that Skate Wave company.
Skate Wave?
Was it called Skate Wave, I think? Where they made modular ramps. Remember, that's a big deal. They're coming out.
Yeah, they just made little ramps.
Yeah, like plastic plastic ramps. And, but I rode for them for a year or two. They're not weird. I'm not saying they're weird, but that was just kind of seemed a little out of place. Here I'm a professional BMX bike rider, but they wanted to sponsor me for being the only bike rider. They had nothing but skaters on back then. But
yeah, that one's kind of weird.
that was kind of, it was good. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're good weird, I guess.
Did you and Dave have a conversation after that? After the contest?
Mira?
Yeah.
Sure. We talked a little that evening. I think it was.
Because I know Dave was always super competitive. You were really, I think that whole crew was competitive at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't. Yeah, I don't know how much I was hanging out with them then. I mean, I rode for Diamond. We weren't riding for Haro. We were
but
traveling together.
You guys are still buddies and stuff.
Yeah, straight up. Of course, we were lifetime buddies, man. God bless him. God rest his soul. I mean, we were always buddies. That guy was just awesome. I owe so much to him, man. I think back from that time, just having literally nothing in BMX, and then thinking about what one man can change for the rest of your life.
You think Dave was a super pivotal part?
Oh, completely. It was.
Yeah,
and I give and to Nyquist too. I got to hand it to Brian as well, equally, but just so grateful. Having Dave at that time, and it just all happened because of my passion and my pursuit, and nothing was going to stop me, and I'm going to head out to Woodward, and I'm going to meet people, I'm going to make a connection, and happened to be Mira, happened to be one of them. So yeah, truly grateful for that time.
How was everything for you when you heard the news about Mira and stuff?
It's devastating, man.
Yeah,
I mean, as you know, I just speechless. And I hadn't talked to him in a while. I hadn't really communicated in years. The last thing was an email, or I might have texted. I remember just checking on him, seeing how the family was going. He said, "Hey, okay, wife, kids, whole thing," and I still can't believe it, dude.
Yeah.
Still can't believe that.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like, a big piece is missing ever since then. You know?
Completely, dude. We owe as BMXers. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's so many good riders right now. There's Reynolds and Dak, and there's so many amazing riders right now. But I doubt if we'll see that kind of talent, the trend that Mira set in our lifetime. You know what I mean? I doubt we'll see that.
Well,
it was a rarity.
There's so many good bike rider stuff nowadays, but he still came out in that. When you come up in the 80s and stuff, I mean, back then you thought things were so advanced and stuff, but you were still creating so much stuff, and Dave created so much stuff.
Oh, definitely, dude. But at the level he did, the amount of people that he touched. I mean, when I was still a counselor or a dish dog, at Woodward, I mean, I can't say exact numbers, but like literally half or more of the kids, the campers that came in, had an influence from Mira. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. They were running the pads over the jeans. They were taking the visor off the helmet, or whatever it was, the trend that David set, like, they were doing it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen such a big influence in my days, So.
Yeah, he definitely was an amazing dude. So.
Yeah, yes, he was.
Well, we kind of talked about your contest stuff, and I know we could talk about other contests. We could talk about, one of the contest stuff I always kind of remember of you is, remember the props passport videos where they covered all those European contests? Oh, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, passports. Good times.
Maybe let's touch on that, because it seemed like right about that time,
Stu was filming those, right?
Stu was filming those, but it seemed like your riding was starting to shift a little. As your friend, I felt like I've seen you start pulling away from a lot of the contests.
Definitely.
And a lot of those pressures. I remember times where we'd hang out and it seemed like you'd have a phone call and you were so frustrated with having to talk to some sponsor person when you just wanted to ride and progress, and I feel like parts of that were like beating you down a little.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you know me, and for those of you that don't know me, really, my type of personality is that, like, I like change. I'm just that type of person. If I'm going to do something, for 2-3 years straight, a hobby, whatever, I eventually get bored of it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. I got to change it up in my life constantly to the point where, like, it'll apply to my bike riding.
Yeah.
Even, I rode contests in this particular style of BMX for so long that it was like, I just want to do something different, and so it'll stay fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid by that time, I have expectations on my sponsorships and that, but still, doing these contests or riding, strictly this style of riding was just not cutting it for me. I was literally just getting bored out of my mind being a pegs and brakes guy. So I was riding for Diamondback at the time, and I just removed my brakes. And they thought it was crazy. It's like, well, but you're a contest rider. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's just what I want to do. And
a bunch of your friends at home were riding brakeless.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't, but was twin fin.
Yeah. People were just doing that, and actually, well, I should say Troy McMurray was one of the big influences on me too, because he was still riding contests. Yeah. Brakeless and pegless.
Okay, yeah.
And doing his street thing and still getting, street photos and all that. And of course, he was an influence on me with that. But
and through this whole time of you being a contest rider, you've always pretty much rode everything.
Yeah,
I've seen you out the Salem trails, the old Solheim trails.
Yeah,
we ride trails. You always rode street.
Yeah.
When you were little, you rode flatland.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Even through all the contest things, you'd still ride everything.
Right. No, definitely. And then let's see. I always rode fakie, you know, with a freewheel, but then I went on that trip. Was it the Road Fools with Mullen Turno, or was that the Dave Mirra tour?
No, you went on.
I think
you went on Road Fools. No.
Was it Road Fools?
It was Road Fools with Mullen Turno.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Road Fools 9. Was that the one Mirra too?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Okay, that's why I got confused. Yeah, it was the Mirra tour.
Yeah,
Dave was on it. And I was doing fakie stuff, and Mullen Turno was like, "Hey, you should ride a free coaster." And I tried his bike, and it was whack, dude. I couldn't do my tricks I want to do with a free coaster because I'm used to sitting down and pedaling backwards and using the leverage of the free coaster or the cassette. And as I'm going through this transition, start riding brakeless, I was eventually like, man, I just want to start doing more fakie stuff.
Yeah.
And which eventually led me to get an Odyssey free coaster. They were just starting out.
I remember we shot a Hoffman Bikes ad where you did a fakie Smith grind to 180 with a cassette hub.
A cassette, though, yeah.
And I think we roasted through like 7 rolls of film.
Of actual film, and you were out, and I was like, I'll go buy you rolls.
We had to go buy a roll.
I had to go buy you rolls, yeah, that's right. And we got it, that's right.
But you got an Odyssey free.
Yeah, whoever was, I don't know how I got that connection to you or Ward or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I ended up getting the prototype of theirs and trying it out some more. I actually built a separate wheel to be that way you can go back and forth because it's still riding contests. And that's pretty much what led me to do the free coaster thing. And
then that kind of just pulled you out of the contest scene and kind of start focusing on video projects. Then.
Pretty much, yeah. That was that time, and I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of over contest and want to focus more on filming. So.
And I mean, at that time, you'd already had a few parts. So now that we're in like this whole other realm of riding, you know,
after Blueprint, this too.
So and with Blueprint, I mean, we'd already filmed. So by the time you were filming for other projects, you'd already filmed for a few projects for Northwest videos. I mean, you filmed for Infection videos back in the day.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple videos come out. We had The Friend Between My Legs.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I had a part there. I don't have any.
There was no parts. That was just a mixed video.
Right.
But you filmed a lot for that video.
Yeah, and then, okay. Yeah.
And then the first big part of yours was Blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And that was mainly when you were on Haro, I believe.
Yes.
Because I remember we have Greenville clips, we have street clips.
All Haro.
Yeah, I think you're riding a Mirra through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then that video came out just probably the year, like 6 months before you won the X Games.
Okay.
I think 2001.
Makes sense because I had Greenville clips in there still.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so what was the next video you worked on? It was Salvation video?
Yeah. Good. Thanks for the reminder. Definitely that.
And that one I think that was the first video you had a couple free coaster clips in.
That's right. Yep. That's probably that Odyssey free coaster I was riding then.
I think you did like a fakie wall ride to half cab down.
Over in Tigard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, I did that there. And then, I did Salvation. And then, because I had a Woodward clip in there too. Remember Woodward Street clip, the rail, up rail.
Oh, yeah.
Wessel filmed that.
At State College.
Wessel filmed that. Yeah. I did that. I did Salvation. And then, I think Hoffman.
Yeah.
I had a video right after that, 2003.
Broke Off. You have a part in Broke Off.
Is it called Broke Off?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Had some I guess a part in there.
Yeah.
And then it basically led me to start filming more, man. Taking photos, filming. And I remember, was it 2003? I think that's when I jacked my back.
Well, you were riding for Hoffman Bikes, so after Diamondback dropped you, right?
That or quit? I don't remember that time.
I feel like they dropped you because
you wasn't running the frames or something. Or?
I can't remember, but I remember you got picked up by Hoffman.
Yeah.
And you were just working on a bunch of video projects at the time.
Yeah.
And then you did win a contest in South America. You won South American X Games, and you rode fakie a bunch in it.
That's right. With a cassette.
Yeah.
2003 Latin X Games. I won that. Yeah, that's right. And doing a bunch of fakie lines with no free coaster.
With no free coaster.
Yeah. So it was right around that transition.
And is that about the same time you hurt your back?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That was the transition into throttle on my back. Maybe it's 2003, 2004. Don't remember. But that put me out, man. It must have been like a solid 8 months.
And you hurt your back filming for the ride video, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Which ride video was it? It's one of their dopest videos. I remember.
I had Escamilla had a part in it.
Yeah, like
I gave a bunch of
Stephen Lilly had a bunch of. It was a fun video.
Yeah, I gave all that footage of Kimbrough over to who's Glenn? Was it Glenn P.P. Milligan filming at the time?
Glenn might have. Yeah,
I think it was Glenn filming it.
But you did like a big gap and you compressed your back.
Yeah, that's what happened. Did a big gap and said my herniated discs, my spine, and not good. I mean, it affects me to this day.
Yeah, that injury's been your major injury in your whole.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, talk about it a little,
dude. Yeah, I mean that really changed things up right there. I mean, I was off my bike for it seemed like a full year. It must have been 8-9 months straight of like rehabilitation.
Yeah, because there was times where I remember we'd go ride. And I remember picking you up, carrying you to your car once. Yeah. Because you couldn't move because your back was so jacked.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it went on for like a few years for you trying to find a solution for
that. It did. It was like I just do things on my own, stretches or push-ups, just trying to find ways, to rehabilitate or strengthen my back. And it felt like nothing was working. But on top of that, I was riding so much, man. All that compression and jarring of your spine and your body, of course, is going to, create inflammation and pain and no desire to ride sometimes, and it was a real bummer. But I eventually, I talked with Marty McFarland.
So you talked to Marty McFarland and Scott Hagness.
They're both trainers.
And they're both older BMX guys in the Portland area.
Older pro bike riders. And so they understand the human bike rider body. Yeah. And they understand what it takes to rehabilitate that, having been bike riders. And I just kind of took from them, took from, other friends and athletes, friends of mine and that, and just basically I've established, just a really simple workout, like a pull-ups, of stretching and what have you, and that's really, I'd say the main thing is just being consistent.
And you had to do that. I mean, there was a long time where you were doing that almost every day just to be able to.
Well, that's what I'm saying right now. I mean, it is part of my daily life now.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's, and I tell most people, even if it's just 30, 60 seconds a day, just do these stretches or these exercises religiously. Just make sure you stay with it. It does you no good if you do this awesome workout once a month.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lifetime commitment really. If you jack your back like I have, and it has to be part of your life.
Do you think, and I think you and I have discussed this, do you think, and I know there's a few other people that are our age that have had back problems, do you think the little bars and the heavy bikes have something to do with that too?
Yeah, I do. Bad posture, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the kids nowadays have like 3-inch rise as opposed to what we had.
3 more inches.
You know what I mean? And then stems higher and higher stems too.
Yeah.
It's just like...
and the bikes are way lighter.
Yeah, and that's the big part. And geometry and that, shorter back ends, whatever. It's definitely, dude. I think the heavy bikes didn't help out.
And the little bars.
Yeah, I think his bad posture led to some injuries for sure.
Are you glad? Because I know a lot of other dudes. I mean, Rich had a back surgery. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of, I think Taj had a back surgery.
Yeah.
Are you glad you didn't get a back surgery? I know you talked about it for a little.
Yeah, I started looking into it, and I always hear that once you go into the knife, you never come out the same, and that's coming from my father and my grandpa. I think my dad had at least 1 back surgery, and my grandpa maybe 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, they both said the same thing. It's not as mobile, and I think for the time I had to ride, dude. This was the only way I was making a living, and I couldn't be cooped up for another year.
Yeah.
Just stiff, recuperating for a full year. So I'm glad because, having not gotten that surgery, I've discovered other ways, to rehabilitate myself. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I hope it doesn't come down to that, that I need surgery one day. I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to prevent it.
Yeah, does it still act up once in a while?
Yeah, just depending the day, but yeah, if I ride a lot and the weekend, I'm definitely sore the next day, but it's a blessing in disguise, because if I do ride a lot, it's to make sure to stretch and work out more. So
yeah. Yeah, why don't we talk about, we're going into the videos and stuff. Why don't we talk about some of the video projects you worked on that, I know you had when you were on Federal, you were smashing out video parts, I feel like, left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like those Federal years was like a whole nother chapter in your life. You were living in England.
Yeah.
And you were full pushing, everything with a freecoaster, I think, at that time.
Yeah, man. I mean, by that, yeah.
How'd Federal come around? How'd it come around that you were living in England?
Well, by that time, yeah, rode for Federal. How did I get on Federal? Man, I'm sure space in this podcast. All right, it's been I've lived a lot of BMX lives, I feel like. Okay, so by that time, I had pretty well adapted to this free coaster style. I get on Federal, and they are just all game for what the way I wanted to pursue my career. They understood, being Federal as they are. I wanted to work on video sections.
Yeah.
They were all into that at the time too, and then photos, and then we talked about it through email, phone calls occasionally. Hey, it'd be awesome to come over there, do a video part. Ed Allen was putting out those videos at the time.
Yeah.
And I just I eventually made my way over there, and it was, man, that was one of the best times ever filming for a part, because I set out for 2-3 months. I remember what it was. Literally just scouting the area. I was in Zone 1, downtown, the hub of London, England.
Yeah.
The busiest and coolest street spots and that. And I literally just took out a couple months just gathering, took my paper and pen, writing down cross streets or whatever, finding different spots. And when I had finally accumulated enough spots and hooked up with Ed. Ed came into town. John Taylor, us too, was around then, and we just made some road trips. He come up and filmed with me some spots I had around my area, and dude, it was a real treat being able to do that. And
yeah,
I'm grateful for Federal for supporting me during that time to make that happen too. It was, awesome people over there.
Who are some of the people you were riding with a lot when you were in London?
Just locals, actually, mainly. I mean, like I said, Ed would come up occasionally. I'd hook up with Dan Lacey.
Yeah.
Occasionally, too. God, it's been so cool watching that kid come up. Man.
Yeah, because he was really young at the time, wasn't he?
He was young, and just still had that charisma and that power in his bike, just blasting,
Yeah.
Guy, he was awesome.
Because he was riding transition a lot then too.
More transit scene back then, but still freeing off the big stuff, And it was really cool seeing Lacey come up. Truly one of my favorite riders to watch right now. And God, I'm trying to think who else. Mainly just that crew, and whenever I'd be able to take a trip and meet up with those guys.
Yeah.
And so we made an edit after all. Before I left, Ed I think did a great job.
Yeah, that Federal edit's awesome.
That was a lot of fun doing that. I'd say that's really one of my highlights for filming a section. Did it just the way I always dreamed of doing. What I mean? So,
it was funny because I remember talking to you when you lived over there, and you were like, "What was your job?" You're like delivering party flyers or something.
No, it was like flyers for shows. Yeah, I mean, dude, it was so expensive. Imagine this, the currency, right?
Yeah.
Twice as much as ours. I mean, it's literally, if something was 500 pounds, it meant $1,000.
Yeah.
Rent or whatever, you have. But it was so expensive that I got to the point where I kind of had some money going over there saved up and stuff. And I was like, dude, I better have some supplemental income, or by the end of this trip, I'm going to either go bankrupt or whatever, I just had to have something coming in to help me. So I found this dude that, he did flyers for events and stuff.
Yeah.
And nothing crazy amounts of money.
You just cruise around on your bike and deliver
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a good time, good experience.
Yeah, after that you came home and I feel like you went straight to working on the facade video.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that video is kind of a big deal. So, Tell us a little about, backstory of the facade video and how that came around and, all the characters you had in that video.
Yeah, dude. So, started filming more. By that time, I was in England. I actually I got a DX2100, I think it was. Yeah. And with the lens and all that. So, I got my camera gear, was filming over there. Was that facade video right after?
I feel like it was.
Okay, so I get home and I just have this idea. I want to start a project, and it basically entails making a video.
Yeah,
and we're gonna make some shirts and whatever happens. And Kimbrough, I'm hanging out with quite a bit then. Of course, I want him on, and then Hoder.
Who was still pretty... Hoder was, what, 17, 18?
Yeah, just coming up. Yeah. Crazy kid on a bike. I don't remember who... Did you recommend him to me?
Hoder was chilling. He was living in Portland at the time.
Maybe it was you that you said you should pick up this guy or check him out. And then I think Hoder eventually, told me about Davey, some kid up in...
Davey Watson.
Yeah, Davey Watson up in Tacoma. You need to check him out. And I remember going up there... was that indoor skate park that used to have contests?
Oh, the one with the spine and stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot it, but I know
and saw him ride. Maybe, I don't know what it was. Maybe he didn't even tell me about Davey, but I remember seeing him ride. He was 15 years old.
And he was mainly a flatlander then, too.
Yeah, he's flatlanding, just doing like crazy lip tricks, on ramps and that with awesome style. And I just remember thinking, if he's 15, dude, this kid is the future, dude. I just remember thinking that, like, literally, he's going to come up so hard in BMX. Like, no one knows what's coming because he's 15, he's doing this stuff. And sure enough, we put out that Eddie. He worked really hard. Like, put him on. I was like, hey, you want to be do my clothing thing with me? I was just going to make clothes and, some we're going to make T-shirts and a video. And he was so into it, Davey. Yeah. And he just filmed his butt off, just filmed the film. And, of course, he eventually came in. Me and Davey Watson, man, just put out one of the most epic video parts, I think, the Shola video. That video is just insane for its time,
So did Davey have a part in the facade video?
Yeah.
So Davey had a part.
He had the opening part.
And then Hoder had a part.
Yep.
Was Vanilla Ice.
Unbelievable. Yeah, just...
Well, you had to do this clips at Garfield High School, like the bunny hop over into the bank.
That was...
Was up? How scary was that filming that day?
One of the most craziest things I've ever seen. I could probably say it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was so hot out. It was muggy. I remember him literally eyeing it up and doing run-ups on that spot for like 4 hours. Yeah. Like at that point, why even try it?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
That
it's
hop
such a
is
metal
like,
thing.
well, I mean, I haven't been there for a while, but that's like, it's well above stem. It's about, 2.5 foot top.
I don't know if it's stem. It's tall, dude.
Yeah.
It's tall, but that's like a 2 on the top. Yeah, you have to bunny hop over,
it's at least
2.5 feet.
Yeah.
It's a significant gap, dude.
And then some more to make it to the bank.
To make it to the bank, yeah. And I just remember thinking, it's not just that. Like, the trick alone is nuts, but just the amount of time it took to psych himself up to do it.
Which for Mike is insane because he's one of those dudes, you see that fast click in his head when he sets his mind to something, it's usually right then he does it.
Yeah, dude. And even us, dude, if we're going to roll up on a handrail for 10, 15 minutes, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's way too past that point. I'm going to jump off my bike or something's going to go wrong, So I just remember it taking several hours for him to get worked up to do it. And the craziest thing, okay, so Jack's got his car, you can see in the photo of it, or the video part, he parked that red car, I don't remember what it was, he parks there, he's on the bottom, waiting, trying to block traffic, for whenever he does go. And Mike, I remember telling him, if you look over to the right, there's a smaller setup of what he's about to do. It just goes into a grass bank rather than that steep concrete bank. And I remember telling him, like, dude, just try it on that, just warm up. And he's like, no, that'll mess me up. And I'm like, dude, just try it, dude. Just at least you can train yourself, the distance and everything. And he jumped it. He went for it. And I'll have to pull this up when we get the footage together and everything. But I film it, and he jumps over that ledge. And I don't remember if he clips or he pintos so hard. Like, he literally comes down with his stomach on his seat. Like
Oh, my
Superman
gosh.
riding, like nutting himself almost. He's riding way down the grass bank, maybe slid off, I don't remember. But like absolute death if he would have tried it on the actual part. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that even made it more scary, dude. And then he's up there and he's smoking Cools. Like, he must have gone through like a whole pack of Cool, like 18 cigarettes straight, dude. Just smoking, waiting. It's hot out and everyone's sweating. And by the time he goes, all right, I'm going, whatever he said. And you knew he was going, dude. I hit the record and I was trembling. I was so nervous at the time. I'm on the bottom filming towards it, you know, the gap. And I remember my hands were just trembling, dude. And I'm thinking, I'm going to mess up this footage. So I took the biggest breath I possibly could and I just hold it. And that stabilized my hand for that 10 seconds. That was the only way. Otherwise, I was literally just, the camera's shaking, dude.
Yeah.
And it just stabilizes my hand for like 10 seconds, that deep breath. And he does it, and he rides away, and it was just, dude, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's insane.
It really was the top thing.
I mean, that whole video, I mean, the way you approach street riding, really in that video, I feel like your street riding kind of came to a pinnacle with just the way you ride. Davey just coming out, you know, Hoder just showing everybody who else had a part.
Kimbrough still killed it too.
Yeah, Kimbrough filmed the part in 3 days.
It was like something like maybe 5, but it was a full like a week.
Yeah,
he came out
and his back was jacked too, right?
He was so injured, dude. He came out and he goes, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to film. And he filmed that. And that's what's amazing about that facade edit, dude. He literally filmed it in a week.
Yeah,
a handful of days. He filmed that entire edit. It was super cool. And we didn't know if he was gonna have a part, and it came to. And then those guys, the way Hoder delivered, man. And, I mean, truly the highlight of the video, you know.
Yeah.
When he did that, all that stuff.
And then you guys filmed for the Shola video.
Yeah, then we did Shola eventually, and I think that's where.
And who had the parts in that? You, Davey,
Jack
Maddock.
Yep, and then
DR
and T-Berg.
And
then we had I had enough footage for 2 friend sections and leftovers. I had bonus sections. I was filming a lot.
Why didn't Mike have a part in that?
I don't know. You know, he wasn't on at the time. Maybe he was doing something else. I don't know what it was. But we had our team. You know.
Yeah.
And he wasn't on it for whatever reason. But yeah, that was Davey. I think that's when he hit it big. Really, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff he did in that. The kid rode a lot.
Dude, really that one double peg grind where he tries hopping over and lands flat on that kink rail.
Yeah, he got knocked out there that first.
That was horrible. I mean, he went so hard that part.
He really did. I know. Amazing rider.
Yeah, I know I want to go through some of these questions everybody's sending in a sec. Do you feel like we're missing anything that we're... Well, here, let's go back really quick. Like, when you were growing up, who are some of... This is what I've always... Who are some of your heavy influences, you know, coming up in the Northwest? Because the Northwest, especially in the early 90s, in the mid-90s, we were so disattached from, I think, the rest of the United States. You know, it just felt like if you saw something, it felt like you were seeing something in Australia.
Right,
you know?
It literally was,
Who are some of the people that helped influence your riding to become the way you know, how you came up? Because, like I said earlier, I feel like we had such a... At the time, I don't think we just thought we were kids that wanted to ride a lot, but when you look back, I feel like we had something special going on in the scene at the time.
Did, for sure. Well, biggest influence, Crew Jones, of course.
Oh, God.
What, dude? The first video.
Okay, rad.
Well, yeah, I mean, rad. I would literally, that was my first video. That came before Ride On Headfirst. So I have rad, and I would watch, you know, the intro.
And the ending.
And then just fast forward to the end, just watch
I do the same thing.
Who did it?
Yeah.
Fast forward, of course, VHS. So that was like my biggest influence, that whoever those guys were, right? I didn't even know at the time. But, and you come to find out, who is it? Molinturno, Wilkerson,
Fiola. Yeah.
So anyway, those are my first influences. But no, aside from that, it was, you know, my first couple of years riding, even all I knew was what I saw on Ride On and Headfirst.
Yeah.
You know, and then BMX Plus. So it was Eddie Roman, it was Vic Murphy, it was Miron, Hoffman, of course, McCoy, and then, you know, Volker, of course, and then just whatever we saw on the mags, dude.
And then locally, like then Northwest, like who were people that like?
Well, you know, who I mentioned first, you know, Brett Hadley and Aaron Gunther and Liquor Store Dave, and then eventually
the PDX BMX crew and
yeah, I mean you guys, dude, yeah, of course, you know, like Ben Ward, you know, that guy, he was doing some crazy stuff. You know,
Ben was don't understand,
dude.
Ben
and riding dirt jumps, and he was jumping. He was a sick dirt jumper. Too.
Ben opened up some lines at Burnside back in the day.
Definitely did.
Spine to pillar.
Definitely, still innovative, dude.
Yeah.
No, he's such a creative guy. I'm so stoked for the way he's.
And then you used to ride Twin Fin and Ogre Jeremy a time.
Yeah. And so, well, I mean, my partner Daniel at the time, you know, of course, he's my biggest influence at that time. And then, you know, meeting Twin and Ogre, Bristol. Having quarter pipe airs, battles back in the
because you used to come ride Vert a bunch with everybody.
Yeah, I did. And then Andy Merrill. I think I met him when I was like 15. You know, that was a really big influence of mine.
And I think we're lucky that our crew, most of the dudes, all still, you know, we can still get together and ride.
Oh yeah, isn't that neat?
Yeah,
we're still riding actually. Maybe not as much, but we're riding.
Yeah.
Right.
And then don't forget Dave Tom.
Oh my god, I wish. See how. I didn't know him much growing up, and the first time I met him was down at Kaiser, Oregon, where Two Hip. Remember?
For the box jump show. You were there that day?
I was there at what's the bike shop?
Yeah, it was Luarca's World of Wheels.
Okay, World of Wheels. Okay, so Dave Tom came up with
dude.
The
he killed that box jump.
Dude, he flipped it. I think he
flipped
it.
One hand bar to one hand no foot catch.
Yeah, or no foot flipped it. Excuse me, no foot flipped it. Oh, that was a great time.
Yeah, Dave's a G. We're going to just run through some of these questions.
Okay.
That everybody sends on. I just have people send in questions on Instagram. So, this guy's name is... I'm trying to... Jesus is not an option, or Jesus is an option, or... Oh, it's... Okay. So he wanted to know... Okay, we'll just hit this one. How did you come across doing the little documentary on the Brazilian rider that lived in the favela?
Oh, Alessandro, yeah.
What's his full name?
I
have to look it up.
Alessandro Lima Tejes, I think.
Okay. Yeah, talk about that, because if you guys haven't seen, Bruce did it's on the Snakebite BMX YouTube, he did a documentary of Alessandro, and he lives in the I'm saying
favela
in Brazil, like
born and raised in the favela,
and he's just the gnarliest rider, and he has a gnarly story. But yeah, talk about filming that little documentary.
So yeah, I was hanging out in Porto Alegre. It's a southern city in Brazil, beautiful city. Kind of reminds you of Portland in a way. Anyway, the short of it is that I met him through a friend, my friend William, down there staying with William. And he's just incredible. And you watch the video.
Yeah.
Just insane biker. He rode a motorcycle, dude, a delivery motorcycle at that skate park. Like,
yeah, you said you have more footage of him riding.
I do. I got to pull out. You need that footage.
Yeah.
And anyway, just watching him, not just the motorcycle. I mean, just insane. He's doing like
bar hop. The quarter pipe looked like the bowl looked like it was like a wedge to Jersey barrier.
It's a wedge to Jersey barrier. There's no. It's not a vert quarter whatsoever. It's the sketchiest transition. I aired out like an inch and thought I was gonna die, and he's like blasting it, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, can look back, the whole thing. Obviously influenced by Hoffman.
Yeah,
Hoffman's his favorite ever. So with that said, he's outstanding bike rider. And then, you know, one day I have some camera gear. And we're riding the park. We meet up there, and I have some camera gear in a backpack. And that my buddy's like, put your stuff over by his motorcycle. And I look over and I'm like, I mean, this is Brazil. I'm like, where is it going to be safe around this park, you know? And there's a bunch of backpacks hanging on his motorbike.
Yeah.
And all around it, and people sitting around it and everything. And I'm like, well, why would it be safe around that? This guy's bike. And they're like, well, you know, Alessandro, he's actually had to kill people in self-defense.
Yeah.
Coming up through the years. And he's obviously has that type of reputation, and no one messes with him. So I'm like, geez, kill people, you know? And interested me from that point. I was like, got to know more about this guy. And he's such an outstanding bike rider. I mean, some guy here coming from the favela, amazing bike rider, just seemed like a really interesting story to me.
Yeah.
You know, and so the more I sat down to talk with them, I was like, you know, here I'm down there already. I'm filming. And one night I'm at William's house and I just stayed up. I didn't go to sleep till like 4 or 5 in the morning, I think it was. Just stayed up with a pad and a pen and started writing, not just questions, but the format of this documentary. The way I wanted it to go. And there you have it, you know, watch the documentary and pretty much I was just so stoked to meet this guy and document about his life. And
it's just gnarly to see how good he got at riding bikes from where he came from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, all right, Viking Magic wants to know if you can convince me to put Blueprint out on DVD and if there ever will be a Blueprint number 2.
I think you're working on that. Good question, Mike. Aren't you working on the number 2?
If we can all get together and ride.
If I can stop getting broke up.
What free coaster do you ride right now?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know.
Is it the Primo one?
Do you have a...
Or wait, who...
Do you have a KG or a Primo?
No, it's not a KG.
I think
I held on. I'm actually not running my signature ones anymore because I just want to hold on to them.
I think you're riding a Primo.
Probably is a Primo. Oh, Caleb.
Yeah, you got a Primo. Yeah, you have a Primo one.
Okay, I'm riding Primo.
Okay. Gosh, there's a bunch of questions in Spanish I don't know, Bruce.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I don't know.
Howdy.
What is your favorite... Powell Petrowski wants to know, what's your favorite free coaster fakie trick downstairs?
Oh, just on a basis?
Yeah.
I like cabs.
Half
Yeah,
cab?
just styling a cab is so nice, man. I'd say cab, yeah. Skeezing it out, popping it, and landing it right.
Migration Mike wants to know, when's the last time you did a one-handed bar spin to Fufanu? And are you ever going to bring it back?
Did you influence this question?
No, I
Sure. No, good question. No, I don't know. Maybe if I put brakes on.
You think you can still do one?
Yeah, I could do one. I did a little while ago. Who had brakes? I was riding their bikes, and I did a bar spin one-handed tire tap.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure I got the Fufanu in me still. And where's the sub around here anyway?
We don't have any sub rails.
You know, yeah, we're can't be done anytime soon, but. Jimmy,
Alaskan Jimmy, Wildcard.
Wildcard, of course.
He wants to know: do you have any big plans for riding or for your art around Portland? And is getting older making it harder to ride, or is finding time making it harder to ride?
Definitely the time thing. Finding the time to ride. Getting older, no, I embrace it, man. I'm having more fun on my bike now than ever.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of that age now where we're just the control.
Yeah, I always
more than ever. You know what I'm saying?
I like just going out and trying to make my bike riding feel like when I was 14.
Just flowing around the park or whatever. It's just so much easier now.
Yeah.
So it's stress free. But what's the other question? What do you say?
He goes, do you have any plans for your art and stuff around Portland?
Oh, art around Portland? Dude,
maybe like any art shows or
I'm still drawing, you know, when I
do you have any music stuff? I mean, a lot. We didn't even touch on your music stuff and art.
Yeah, I'm a hobbyist with that stuff. Whenever I find the time, I'm still working on. I have an art piece I'm going to be releasing the next month or two whenever I get around. It's almost done, but I'd like to do an art show. I keep procrastinating, say I'm going to, but I'm just passionate about it. You know.
How many instruments can you play, Bruce?
Oh boy, well, I grew up. Piano.
You're like Bruce is like a concert level pianist.
I wouldn't say that. Not.
You used to be.
Well, I used to play a lot, but nowadays, you know, I'm just doing piano, guitar, singing, writing music. I've been in this band since 17 years. Pretty much the same guys, jamming music. So, to answer your question, Jimmy, just going along with it. Whenever I find the time, I will pursue more of.
Pedal Grinds wants to know, with explosion of free coaster hubs, no pun intended, which I like that one, who are some of the riders you enjoy watching today? Like nowadays, modern riders.
Does it have to pertain to free coaster?
No, just tell us who.
Oh, okay. He said.
I mean, you can just tell us who you like watching.
Dude, the Heart, straight up, the Heart, and Lacey's my absolute favorite right now, dude. As we were talking before, just his power, his style, just how big he goes, the trick difficulties. I mean, every single one of his video parts are just bangers.
Yeah, we were just watching the Colt, and we were talking about Dak earlier.
Yeah, and then Dak too, of course. But yeah, I love watching those guys. Lacey and DeHart right now. Dakota, yeah, just pulled up one of his video parts last night. He's insane.
Okay. Flipping through this. All right, Dan Wild wants to know whose idea was it for you to do the double kinker rail with the gold medal around your neck for the Diamondback ad?
That was mine, actually. Jeff Z was out at Woodward at the time.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And what was he? Is he just working there? I don't know. Was he working at the time? I'm trying to remember.
I think he was there shooting something for... I don't know why he's there.
He's there a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like accounts or shooting photos for Woodward maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I was riding with him quite a bit, and I just won, and I was making that transition to street anyway, and they needed an ad. They needed a photo for an ad. Diamondback did, and I stopped and said, it'd be cool to incorporate street in this next one because I always had tons of ramp stuff already, and then sure enough, we came across that kinked rail.
You slid the kink rail with the gold medal around your neck.
That'd be cool to do a handrail with a gold medal.
AC Gates wants to know what's your best memory of the old Nelson Canada contests.
Ooh, best memory.
Those contests were epic.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lived in the Northwest in the early to mid '90s, you made sure you were at the Nelson contest.
Yeah, man. That'd be Rob Siggety doing this, owning his park.
Yeah, Siggety murdered that park.
Owning it. Biggest transfers, wall rides. Was Asada there?
Oh, Asada was there.
And Jay, and they're doing the Schwinn. They were on Schwinn.
Yeah. They were on Schwinn. I mean, Asada, first time I saw him was on a Kuahara, then a basic, then a Schwinn.
Yeah, and then Andrew Ferris.
Yeah.
Was there killing it too.
Yeah, killing it too.
Stefano.
Stefano.
Stefano's killing it. And then, of course, Daniel Randall going for the truck driver. Inward bar spin truck.
Over the 7-foot spine.
7-foot spine with the massive spine.
Dave Tom trying to flip that spine.
That's right. Yeah, those are the big highlights right there.
All right. James Vandekamp wants to know what happened to Mortal Treason, your old band.
Well, I was having to fly into Alabama. I was living down in Alabama, off and on doing the band thing, and they kept going. I don't know. They kept playing, but I didn't keep going with them.
You played bass in the band, right?
Yeah, I played bass for a minute. Yeah, for
like
a year or so. But they ended up actually signing with a record label and touring and stuff. So I don't know, buddy. Hit Seth up for that.
Sick Mac wants to know. Sick Matt wants to know how did your time on Two Hip come about, and how'd that come about, you being on Two Hip bikes there for a while?
Oh, yeah. So I met Ron in Portland. Wasn't there a Dew Tour and he was judging it?
Wilkerson? Yeah. Might have been, yeah.
I think, he was up here. It was like 2009 or something, 8 or 9. And we actually met through a friend. It was not like BMX related the way we met.
Yeah.
Through another friend of ours. And Ron, I think, needed a place to stay during a layover or the days. I don't remember what it was, but we hooked up and had the most amazing time. Like, as soon as we met, dude, it was, we were just locked and just friends for life. And we just got to talking. He was like, hey, I'm still doing Two Hip, and I wasn't really doing much at all at the time. So we eventually made plans, and I was helping Two Hip out, riding for doing the team manager thing, doing sales as well, and that's how that came about.
And then Ron kind of got too busy with life. And
he has a really successful Brazilian acai cafe in Santa Cruz. And
that's that took over the bike company.
Definitely. He's doing great with that company, and they're expanding too in other areas. So, and that's understandable. He's having to put his heart and soul into that. And
I think he can spend more time with his kid that way.
That too, straight up. Yeah, but Ron, he's doing great, man. He just texted me a little bit ago, actually.
Trey Jones wants to know what means to you more, being one of the most influential free coaster riders of all time, or winning the X Games against guys like Mira and Nyquist. And then he wants to know if you can buy your gold medal.
Not for sale. Sorry, I've actually been asked that too. No, don't think I'll sell that in my lifetime. What means more?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, man. Two really significant times in my life. I mean, I don't know, man. Winning the X Games thing kind of just came about unexpectedly, so it's not really like something that I was aiming towards and all of a sudden I got and whatever, you know what I mean? It just came.
Yeah.
But, the free coaster thing, I kind of, honestly look back and think, the free coaster transition was like some of my favorite times.
So the free coaster
probably
stuff?
The free coaster, just because it was
more fun. You had more fun on your bike?
More fun during that transition than anything, yeah. They're both good, though. I'm not going to downgrade the contest stuff at all. They're both good, but the free coaster thing was just a really good time, good transition.
Okay.
So,
Mr. DeLuna wants to know, what's one trick you wish you could still do that you can't anymore?
Maybe tail whips.
Yeah, I always fought with tail whips.
I landed one, pedal to frame stand, actually last year.
Was it you and Bristol trying them? Bristol landed a while ago too.
I don't remember, but I did a fly out. I landed on the frame. I'm stoked. Probably tail whips, man. That'd be cool. Like watching DeHart, I could watch him every clip do a tail whip combo and be fine with it, But
all right, I think we just got a few more. Let's see. Did you ever think free coaster? Who's this one? Tom Sillins wants to know.
Oh, Tom, yeah.
Oh no,
I'm in contact with him for a while.
I'm on the wrong dude. Aaron Zawal wants to know if you thought free coaster riding would ever become this popular.
No. No,
No, not at all.
No, why?
Who were some of the dudes like when you started riding a free coaster? Who did you even remember riding a free coaster?
Molinterno.
That's it.
I mean, Molinterno, and then Ian Schwartz. Take that back. Ian Schwartz was.
You and Ian were about the same time.
Yeah, and then.
I mean, I remember Lucky.
Yeah, Lucky. I mean.
But I think Molinterno rode a coaster break. Like
he did, yeah. But a free coaster.
Like Frymouth and
yeah.
Kurt Schmidt did.
Yeah. No, I never thought it'd get this big to where it's, I guess there's a lot of kids riding these days on Shad.
No, I know. I know.
Standard.
These ones are about the same, so yeah. I think that's about it. Is there anything you think we're missing out?
No, man.
You got anything?
Thank you.
You got anything coming up right now? We filming for Blueprint too?
No. Well, Jack Maddock, I should give a shout out. I filmed a couple clips for Jack Maddock. He's still up in Seattle doing his thing. He's got a video going to be released end of the year. Him and his buddies, Elia and Colton, I think, and Zane. They're going to be finishing a video. It looks awesome, man.
And you have some clips in that.
Yeah, I got some clips in that. And Jack I saw some clips of his, and it's going to be a banger, dude, for sure.
Nice.
Look out for that. No, man, just grateful to see what Snakebite and Goods is, doing you guys' thing still. Really, really pleased to see you guys' success and the way you've influenced BMX in Portland. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have such a strong support, really even the biggest support for us in Portland. So thanks to Shad, Goods BMX.
Shut up, fool.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Other than that, no, man, I'm just doing my thing.
I'm just
chilling.
riding,
yep. Hanging out with my family. And that's about it. Thanks to my wife for my support as well, for her support.
Better thank the wife. You better thank the wife.
Yeah, I got it. And my dog. God, I love my dog. My life these days. So,
yeah, you think we covered everything?
I believe so, man.
All right.
Thanks, Shad.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Sorry that we sound like two crazy old people.
We are.
But until next time, guys. Thank you.